Welcome to the Robust Golfer Podcast, where serious golfers learn how to build durable, high-performing bodies for better golf. Here's your host, golf performance specialist, Thomas Malchow.
All right. Hello, everyone. It's been a while since our last episode, but we're back. We have a new name for the show as well as a sharper focus. Okay, so you may remember this used to be the Train Fully Golf Performance Podcast. It's now the Robust Golfer Podcast. And it's part of the new home for everything I do at robustgolfer.com. This show is all about giving you clear, practical takeaways that are grounded in research. Okay, so my job is to take the science from golf strength and conditioning, sports medicine, sports science, and biomechanics, and explain it in plain language so you know exactly how to apply it to your game. Each episode connects to a full article on robustgolfer.com where you can find a deeper dive into that topic, as well as all of the references for both the article and the podcast episode. Okay, but again, the purpose of the podcast is to simplify, explain, and give you steps you can act on right away. Okay, so with that in mind, today we're looking at one of the most common injuries in golf, low back pain. This episode is adapted from my recent article, Low Back Pain in Golf, Contributing Factors and Strategies for Load Tolerance. The central concept to understand from this episode is load versus capacity. Now, as I just mentioned, low back pain is really common in golf. Depending on the study, it affects between 1 in 5 and 1 in 3 amateur golfers each year. Now, at the professional level, injury patterns are a little different, but it's still a significant problem. And in fact, it's the leading cause of modified training or missed competition. And once symptoms appear, recurrence is high. In fact, some studies have recurrence rates as high as 60%. So in other words, this is not just a rare or isolated issue. It's something that impacts golfers at every level of the game, and it can be an ongoing problem. Now, for years, golfers were told that their pain comes from bad posture or a faulty swing, right? The message was that if you fix your setup, if you avoid certain swing faults, then your pain will go away. But the research does not support this. We know that elite golfers swing with all sorts of different mechanics, right? They have all sorts of different types of swings at that level. And yet, some with ideal textbook mechanics end up in pain despite having perfect movement, while others with unorthodox swings play their entire career without any issue, right? So what we can take from that is no single posture or movement directly causes pain. The lumbar spine, as well as all of the other tissues and structures in the low back, are strong and adaptable. They can handle a wide variety of positions and movements. Okay? But if that's the case, if the low back is so strong and adaptable, then why is low back pain so common in golf? The best way to understand low back pain is through the load capacity model. Okay, so this is the key framework of the load capacity model. Load is everything that places stress on your low back. So things like swing volume, swing intensity, practice schedules, competition, travel, fatigue, and even psychological stress all place stress on your low back. Capacity is your body's ability to handle that stress. And qualities like trunk strength, lower body power, hip mobility, endurance, and recovery all play a role. When load consistently outweighs capacity, the risk of pain goes up. Not because of one bad movement or posture, but because the overall balance tips the wrong way. And it's that imbalance between load and capacity that drives most cases of low back pain in golf. And if you'd like to see the research behind this model, I've laid it all out in detail in the article on robustgolfer.com. Now, one way to think about this model is with a bridge. The traffic crossing the bridge each day is the load. The strength of the bridge itself is the capacity. If traffic consistently exceeds what the bridge can tolerate, the bridge will eventually break down. The same applies to the low back. If the total load from swings, practice, training, travel, and stress consistently outweigh your capacity, that is your strength, endurance, and recovery, problems are more likely to show up. Now, to manage the balance better between load and capacity, we need to look more closely at all of the load that's placed on the low back. And to do that, we're going to break the load into two main categories. First, contributing factors from the swing itself, and second, contributing factors from beyond the swing. Now, the golf swing is a high-speed, high-repetition movement. The moments of greatest stress on the low back occur in the downswing and early follow-through when rotation, side bend, and shear forces all peak together. We also know that certain mechanical patterns do increase demand or load on the low back. One of those patterns is combining high trunk rotation with lateral flexion or lead side bend. Another is having limited hip mobility. And a third is finishing in repeated hyperextension with rotation. Okay, now this is the key message, or one of the key messages from this episode. These patterns, the ones I just listed, do not directly cause pain. In fact, elite golfers use them every day. They only become a problem when the body doesn't have the capacity to tolerate the stress, or when they're repeated excessively under fatigue. Okay, so the key point is that the swing itself is not harmful by design. What matters is whether your body has the preparation and recovery to match the demands of the movement. Now, the swing is only part of the picture. What really matters is whether your body can handle the stress the swing places on it. So if you're lacking trunk strength, hip mobility, or lower body power, those same mechanics suddenly place more strain than your body can tolerate. And if you keep grinding through reps while you're fatigued, your risk goes up even more. Capacity also depends on how you manage your workload. That is, how much you're training and playing. Our bodies adapt best when the workload goes up gradually. But if you have sudden spikes, like doubling your practice hours in the lead up to an event, you can quickly overwhelm the system. Recovery also plays a big role. Poor sleep, poor nutrition, high stress, long travel days, they all cut into your ability to repair and adapt. And then there's asymmetry. Now, golf is one-sided by nature, and it's expected that there will be some imbalance. But if the gap between sides gets too large, the stress on the low back multiplies. So this is why two golfers with almost identical swings can have very different outcomes. One stays healthy while the other gets injured. So how do we actually put this load capacity model into practice? Well, the goal isn't to avoid load. The goal is to increase your capacity so that the demands of golf fall within what your body can handle. The first step to doing that is to progress workload gradually. Okay? Track the number of swings you take each week and avoid sudden spikes. And do the same thing in the gym. Monitor the total number of sets, repetitions, and the weight lifted for each exercise and avoid sudden spikes. The second step is to maintain physical preparation year-round. 2 to 3 well-structured strength training sessions per week, even in season, can help maintain or even improve the qualities that protect the low back. So things like strength, mobility, and power. And the third is to develop trunk strength. And it's important to include both anti-movement exercises like barbell rollouts and Pallof presses, as well as rotational exercises like cable chops and medicine ball throws. Next, develop lower body strength and power with exercises like squats, trap bar deadlifts, and loaded jumps. Also, maintain or improve your hip mobility. And the best way to do that is by pairing mobility drills with strengthening exercises so that you develop control and strength in that new range of motion, and it's more likely then to carry over into your swing. Next, address asymmetries with unilateral work. So exercises like lunges, step-ups, and one-arm presses help keep both sides balanced. And finally, prioritize recovery. So that means quality sleep, solid nutrition, managing stress, and smart scheduling. All right, so here's the key takeaway today. Low back pain in golf isn't about one bad posture or movement. It's about the balance between the load you put on your body and the capacity you have to handle it. When load increases faster than capacity, the risk of pain goes up. But if you build capacity through smart workload management, physical preparation, and recovery strategies, that same load becomes much easier to tolerate. The swing itself isn't harmful. Two golfers can have almost identical swings. One gets injured, the other stays healthy. The difference isn't the swing, it's the golfer's capacity. So focus on tipping the balance in your favor. Build capacity, manage load smartly, and protect your recovery. That's how you build durability season after season. Now, if you're looking for a structured way to put this into practice, check out the Robust Protocol at robustgolfer.com.
Thanks for listening to the Robust Golfer podcast. For more research-backed strategies in golf performance, visit robustgolfer.com.